don't know what's worse. Being awake at 3 AM and getting a burst of creativity, or being awake at 3 AM getting a burst of creativity and know that you can't do anything about it. I'm going to go with the second one because if I was to go ahead and film at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm pretty sure I would wake everyone in the house, and I tend to be a pretty loud person. I guess it's true what they say about creative people. You get your best ideas at the most inappropriate times. When I researched into inappropriate times for creative thinking, I got back some pretty interesting results. One of the results came back at like funerals, weddings, being out with friends, being with family, being in situations where creative thinking shouldn't be taking hold of your brain because you should be focusing on something else. However, I'm lucky. When I get my bursts of creativity, I usually find a way of getting that creativity out of the system. Usually trying to avoid the computer, especially at nighttime, but when it came to my creative bursts, I was usually in work or in college, so I was sitting on a computer where I was able to open up a Word document or open up my email and type out the ideas that I had in my head that I thought would be good for videos. And when you write out your video idea, whether it's in a notebook or on a computer, later on in the day or the next day, let the idea settle a little bit for you. When you kind of settle over an idea and you kind of sit over for a little while and start to kind of think about it, you know yourself whether it's going to work or it's not. And then in some cases, some ideas would actually overlap one another, if that's the correct terminology to say for ideas, where you could take one idea and another idea and overlap them into one, and you can generally have a good video idea by doing that if they are similar topics. If a computer is not near you or you are trying to avoid using a computer, the notebook is your next best friend for that. And I know a lot of people have spoken about using a notebook, especially have it at your locker side or your bedside or whatever side you want to put it on, to have your ideas ready. If you're lying in bed and all of a sudden you get this burst of idea, that you're able to grab a pen and your notebook and write down the idea. And there's something I've always dismissed, and it's only in the last months I've actually started using a notebook to write down my ideas at night time when they come into my head. Because if I don't write them down now, I tend to lie in bed wide awake and it just plays on my mind and one after another, and I just can't sleep. So writing your ideas in a notebook has become a huge attachment to me, and without that I probably wouldn't have been creating content as easily as I have been the last few weeks. Now when I create content, I don't create content in an idea that it's extremely good. It's just me sitting down in my room with my camera, talking into it and just talking about my thoughts that are in my head, and I just want to get them out there, and hopefully that someone agrees with it. If they disagree, they can comment down below or whatever. But yeah, the notebook has become a huge thing for me in the last while, and I'm sorry I ever dismissed it, because if I did it from the start, I actually believe my content would be 10 times better than what it is today. I also found recently as well, and this is not something that I just came up with in the last while, it's something I've always done, and especially when I can't sleep and I have something on my mind, I used to always write it down. And I found now that if something's upsetting you or something is making you excited, by writing it down on the page, it takes off your mind and onto something else, because you're focusing your mind and your concentration on something else. And if it is late at night, if you do sit down to write something on a piece of paper, you will actually notice yourself, you actually become more relaxed. And as you become more relaxed, sleep becomes more easier for you. So when you start to feel that sleepiness coming on top of you, you're able to sleep better and you wake up feeling refreshed than what you would have done if you had just left that idea or that stuff float around in your brain until you time you went to sleep. The great thing about a notebook, besides you can put anything you want into it. If it's a video idea, you can write down your video idea. If it's a sketch that you want to get out of your brain, you can sketch it. If you had a nightmare and that nightmare was playing on your brain, write down what your nightmare was about, or what you can remember what the nightmare is about. Read what your nightmare was about later on in the day or the following day. And then you will notice that the nightmare wasn't really a nightmare. It was just something stupid that your brain put through and it woke you up. If it was a dream that you were really enjoying and you can remember it, write it down. These video ideas, like if you can remember your nightmare so vividly and you write it down, that could be a great story. That could be a great story point. It could be a great video if you can remember it to detail. The same with a dream, if you can remember a dream to detail, which is very uncommon if you can remember a nightmare or a dream in detail. But if you can, that's a video idea, and there's people out there that will love stuff like that. And in some cases, if you're a writer, if you can remember that dream or that nightmare, you can build a story around that. But first thing you need to do is write it down from what you can remember. I was recently talking about topics overlapping with videos, and when I was talking about the nightmare and dream thing about writing it down, that's a video that I have planned coming up. And I've just literally just overlapped 2 or 3 of the ideas of that video because I wrote it down. I know for me, when it comes to video creation, that I get my creative thoughts at nighttime. And recently it's becoming more and more common for me to get these creative bursts at nighttime. So by writing them down, I may look at them the following day or when I get up the following day, and I can say to myself, well, this is going to work. I can cut this out. I don't need this in it. And it really does help. It's helping me create what I believe to be better content, more structured content. And I don't know if it's going to work for everyone, but I find that it does work for me. And I, again, still don't understand why I was dismissing using a notebook to write down my ideas and my thoughts when it came to videos. And by doing so, now I know my videos have that little bit more structure. Video ideas are coming that little bit more easier to film. And I honestly believe that when it comes to late night creativity bursts, that our creative thinking or creative thoughts or whatever you want to call it, that writing it down into a notebook or writing it down into a computer if you're on a computer really will help you in a way of creating better ideas, better content, better graphics and all of that. And it's just something that I found in the last while to be really helping me with my creative thoughts. And I do honestly tell you right now that pick up a notebook. It doesn't have to be an expensive notebook. It doesn't have to have a lock and key. Pick one up. You get one cheap as possible, or even just a copy. And use it for your video ideas, use it for your dreams, and use it for your sketches. Just make sure when you're going to be something's upsetting you and you feel that you can't talk about it, write it down. Use it as a journal, use it as a diary, and that way then you can look back on it maybe in a day, in 2 days, in a month, in a year, in 5 years. And you will see that by doing so, it has helped you become a better person, because you can reflect back on that information to better yourself. Creative thoughts are best written down. Angry thoughts are best written down. Upsetting thoughts are best written down. And the reason why they're best written down is because if you let them play in your mind, you become so recluded to who you can be, because you're letting those thoughts play on your mind. Anyway everyone, and that is this week's video. I hope you take something positive from this video. I do really recommend anyone that's thinking of creating content, starting YouTube, or even if they're creating content now and not sure where their videos are going, to pick up a notebook, write down your ideas, and trust me in it, it makes making videos so much easier, so much more structured. And if you have any suggestions for me, please comment them down below, because I'm always open to suggestions, especially when it comes to creating better content. As always everyone, I upload on a Wednesday and Saturday, and if you like this video, please give it a good like. If you have not subscribed, click over here and I will link my previous 2 videos down below for you to check out. On that note everyone, I hope to see you on Wednesday. Peace.